My name is Andrew Miner. I am the president and king of the Bradenton Kiwanis Club. Thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate all your support. We're super excited to have you. We're going to have a great meeting here today. Thank you for all of our guests that came. We can't announce all of you, but I really appreciate all of you that have came. So we're going to do things a little differently today, as all of you are kind of accustomed to, because we have so many special guests to recognize and celebrate today. First, I wanted to recognize in the room all of the elected officials. So I know that you guys just sat down, but if you're an elected official, please stand up so we may recognize you. Thank you. Thank you so much for everybody for coming. And at this time, I'd like to call up Frank Bruner with Crime Stoppers. We're very excited to partner with them today. So Frank, why don't you come on up?
Go right into the program?
Yeah, right in the program.
Right, very good. While Mac's pulling up the slide, first and foremost, let me say how great it is to be back here amongst so many longtime friends and this great organization. Thank you for hosting us here today. I also want to welcome, we have Crime Stoppers from 26 different chapters from around the state. We have people from as far as Pensacola, Jacksonville, and Miami that are here in Manatee County, here specifically in Bradenton this week for our fall conference. And we're really excited about celebrating our 25th anniversary of the partnership between the Attorney General's Office of the state of Florida and the Florida Association of Crime Stoppers. Now, Crime Stoppers actually began in 1976 in Albuquerque, New Mexico as a brainchild of a detective that was trying to solve a cold case. Back then, they plugged in a separate phone in the wall with a jack, a rotary phone, and they passed a hat to come up with rewards. Since then, we've come quite far, and I'd like to just show you, if you take a look here on the screen where it says Crime Stoppers Works. Here in Florida, with our 26 chapters, this is just statistics over the last 8 years. You can see Crime Stoppers Works. We've got, nearly 500,000 tips. We've recovered millions of dollars worth of stolen property and removed millions of dollars of narcotics off the street, affecting thousands of arrests and giving out millions of dollars worth of rewards. So Crime Stoppers works, and we're very appreciative of all the work that our volunteers and staff do in our communities, but also with the great relationship that we have with our Attorney General's office. It's probably by no mistake that in the last few months of this year, as we're celebrating this 25th anniversary partnership, that we've had some great successes that we're in the midst of launching with our Attorney General. If I could get to the next slide, we've been able to do a couple of PSAs with the help of the Attorney General, and also with some of you might recognize John Walsh. If we can go ahead and play that.
It takes a team to fight crime.
Law enforcement can't be everywhere.
We must work together to keep our community safe.
I'm Attorney General Ashley Moody, and we're teaming up with John Walsh and Florida Crime Stoppers to enlist you in our fight to keep Florida safe.
Through my decades of hosting a national crime-fighting show, I've seen what happens when the public takes an active role in solving crimes.
And as Attorney General, I worked with Crime Stoppers to make it easy for Floridians to report crime from anywhere in our state.
All you have to do is take out your phone and dial ** tips. You'll instantly be connected to the closest Crime Stoppers office, where you can share your information anonymously.
And you don't have to give your name. You may also be eligible for a huge reward if your tip leads to an arrest.
So, join our fight. Keep a watch over your community and take an active role in helping law enforcement solve crimes.
Working together, we can catch criminals, protect our communities, and
build a stronger, safer Florida.
And we have one other quick short one that's suitable, hopefully to be on some TV and some social media. That's 30 seconds. Mac?
Now, more than ever, we need to work together to make Florida safer.
If you know about criminal or suspicious activity, staying silent could be deadly.
You can make a difference by reporting information anonymously.
Contact Crime Stoppers over the phone, online, or with the Florida Crime Stoppers app.
If your tip leads to an arrest, you could receive a reward up to $9,500.
Report crime, remain anonymous, and receive a cash reward.
You can make a difference.
If you see something, say something. All right. So I actually was with Crime Stoppers before we had this partnership and was there when we first launched it in 1998. Since then, I have personally, with Manatee Crime Stoppers, worked with 5 different attorneys general. And sometimes it goes well, and sometimes it's a little bit more challenging. But I will tell you that the current Attorney General, who is now thankfully in her second term, has head and shoulders. She's been visionary, she's been proactive, she's wanting to do new initiatives so that we can help build Florida to be a stronger, safer place. So without any further ado, please give a warm Manatee County welcome to Ashley Moody.
Thank you so much. This is an amazing room, so heartwarming to see. I see so many friendly faces. Appreciate the invitation. And I know that this was a collaboration of both Crime Stoppers and at the Kiwanis Club regular meeting. And this is how it should be, because solving crime, protecting our communities, everybody being involved, that is what Crime Stoppers is all about. And so I so appreciate Kiwanis Club hosting this celebration, 25 years of a great collaborative relationship with Florida Crime Stoppers. It's a really remarkable event, and I'm so glad you were willing to do that. Thank you so much. This is, I have been a lot of things in the course of my professional career. I was talking with Judge Smith. I miss being a judge. I was a judge for over a decade. I was a federal prosecutor. I was a business lawyer for all you business folks out there. But I was just talking to a group this week and said I had never felt more fulfilled and called and rewarded in my professional life, in that I am in the right place at the right time. And we've been able to achieve such great things in Florida, for Floridians. A lot of that is due to Frank and your leadership and community leaders like you who have been engaged along the way and in the process. So thank you for giving me this incredible opportunity to serve as the Attorney General. It really, truly has been the honor of a lifetime. Florida Crime Stoppers is really helping us stand in the gap between what has evolved over a few decades, where it seems as though police officers, sheriff's deputies are over here, and then there are community complaints and activists, and it's set up this dynamic where it's us against them mentality, which is exactly the opposite of how law enforcement even began or evolved. And so what Florida Crime Stoppers is doing, what you're doing as a community organization, is trying to bridge that gap, fill that in, and it truly will make us more fortified and stronger as a state, as a community. But when policing started, when we just were a few colonies, there was a night watch. And it was basically, Pat Neal would say, I'm going to go help the night watch. Or Judge Smith might even help, who knows? And it was a community group, volunteers. They would go and patrol and help keep watch. And there were probably some issues with that. I read about a little bit of drinking, maybe some sleeping on the job. And over time, we saw the need for more professional police forces, specifically trained police. And as that evolved, and we specially trained and gave resources and certified and made sure that we had good men and women of integrity that had gone through a process over time, if you had a complaint, it might be, well, now it feels like they're too far removed from the community. We've lost that. It is the community policing ourselves. In fact, If government is operating the way it is supposed to, we are a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. But it is us. We are the government. I am a mere reflection and representative of you, just as our police initially were and should be. And so groups like Florida Crime Stoppers and this wonderful service club, Kiwanis Club, coming together to talk about how we can all be part of the process of solving crime is how it was always meant to be. And in fact, I love the tradition that you start your meetings. You say a prayer, and then you recognize our amazing country and talk about and pledge our part of that. And if in fact we are following in the guidance of our God and remember that we are a government of the people, we could solve a lot of the world's problems, a lot of our nation's problems. And so I have approached my role as Attorney General in that vein and my partnership with Florida Crime Stoppers as we've developed new ways to be effective in Florida. And I'm so proud of what we've accomplished. In fact, some of our initiatives have now been adopted nationally because they were, in their words, a great idea. And if you go back to what we're trying to achieve, and that is to engage more people of the community to help us solve crimes, we should have come up with these ideas a long time ago. And I'm so proud that we were able to do that. And I want to share a little bit about that with you right now. As you may remember, a few years ago, we launched Star Tips. And when I started in this role, I realized we had 27 different anonymous crime lines in Florida. I also realized from my criminal justice history that rarely does crime stay within one jurisdiction that actually criminals don't even know about. They don't have the maps that show the jurisdictions and where the Manatee Sheriff's Office might be able to go after them, but maybe the Sarasota Sheriff's Office can't. And most people will come into counties and commit crimes and even flee to different jurisdictions. So having specific lines for specific jurisdictions where things might have been a little more local at one point, now with travel, with the social media, with so much that has evolved, we needed a better way to connect with the community to help solve crimes, especially as Florida has continued to grow. And so we came up with the idea that if you go on your cell phone right now and you dial Star Tips, and it doesn't matter if you're sitting here or if you're sitting across the state in Vero Beach, it will go to the place where the crime that you report needs the information. And when we launched Star Tips, very easy to remember, at the time my son was about 10, and he said, "Oh, that's so easy, Mom, I can remember that." I said, "That's great, that's what we're going for." And so the National Crime Stoppers has now adopted Star Tips. So what we need now is our community groups and our law enforcement organizations to start using that so it just becomes second nature. I know something, I heard something, I saw something. I don't want to engage with law enforcement. I just want to let them know they can follow up on this if they think it's something. Let me call Star Tips. And that needs to be embedded in our memories and passed down to our next generation, and it can. And so we've been working on that line, and we're able to bring on John Walsh. I'm so sorry he couldn't join us today. With this, I think they're calling it Canadian smoke. His plane was grounded over on the East Coast. But he has embarked upon this campaign with us to spread Star Tips. And this is great news for communities. Now, you can go home tonight and tell your family and your friends and your kids about Star Tips. They won't forget it. But if there was a 7-digit or a 10-digit line, that would have been harder. So we're super excited about this. We're also excited that we have become the model for the nation. Just one more way Florida is at the forefront and has become the model for the nation. And we're so proud of that. And I just want to brag on Florida Crime Stoppers for just a moment. Just in the last 12 months, they have received more than 59,000 tips, and 2,700 of them actually led to an arrest that would not have been made if not for that call. And I know Frank Bruner talked about taking narcotics off the street and recovering property, and all of that is important. But we have outstanding homicide cases that we've never been able to solve. And there are families still craving, needing closure. And a tip could lead to that. And so reminding the community of the need for your participation and how to participate is so very important. You know, in this part of the state, tips provided to the Southwest Florida, Tampa Bay, and Manatee County Crime Stoppers resulted in more than 17,000 arrests over the past several years. And in that concept, again, of us all being part of the crime-solving process is what we need to convey throughout our communities. We also took the Star Tips concept and said, how can we engage our youngest of Floridians? Because as we seek to find new ways to build trust in law enforcement, include more people to partner with law enforcement, we've got to be ingenuitive in how we do that. We know that about 3/4 of kids have, I can't believe I'm saying this as a mother of a school-aged kid, 3/4 of kids have cell phones by the time they're 12. It is the new reality in which we live. Now, technology has made things a lot easier in many ways. I mean, I don't know that I would be standing here before you as the Attorney General with a kid in school at home if I didn't have Instacart or Amazon Prime because I forgot the notebook the night before. It has made our lives easier in many ways, but it has also challenged our law enforcement community and our communities in ways we never thought possible. In fact, as a parent, I've rolled out online safety toolkits. Parents, be aware that people can now get in your home and access your children in ways we never thought that they could. I've invited the CEO of Meta to come and testify to our Human Trafficking Council because we know that traffickers are using social media platforms more and more and more to get to our kids. And our kids are the ones that really need us to stay in front of and on top of the technology evolution and what that is meaning for our law enforcement family and our communities. And so we're engaging our kids. As Attorney General, I work very closely with law enforcement. I was so proud of a school resource officer who had earned the trust of the students, and one came to him and said that there was a substitute teacher who had been sexually exploiting children. They didn't tell anybody else, but they trusted the school resource officer, and they were able to put an end to that and protect countless kids. And so how do we get through to kids that you can be a part of the crime-solving process, our community that protects one another? And so we launched a Hallway Heroes program. And as it is age appropriate, we put pictures and signs in schools. So for elementary school, you may have a sheriff's deputy and a police officer, and in the back, in the shadow, they're wearing capes. And we tell them to get to know their school resource officer. They can help you. And in middle school and high school, we still call them hallway heroes, but we also tell them, get to know your school resource officer. And if you know about a crime and you want to help your community, and maybe you're afraid to tell anyone in your community, because in our most at-risk communities for crime, those are the ones that are the most afraid to be involved. And if our kids want to be involved, we need to make sure they know that there is an outlet for them to do that they can call, and they don't have to worry about, maybe they have a family dynamic where that would not be encouraged. Maybe they have a community dynamic where that would not be encouraged. Maybe they have a friend dynamic where that would be absolutely shunned. And so we offer to them Star tips, because most have cell phones. And we remind them it's not just about being a positive part of helping and protect your community and your friends and your school. You could also be eligible for a cash reward. And so under our office, in partnership with Crime Stoppers, we've also doubled our cash rewards to make sure that Floridians know that they can be rewarded for the information they provide. I know in this room, so many of you are altruistic. So many of you know what it means to be a leader in your community and why that's important. It would not surprise you probably that most people that call Star Tips don't even want the reward. They just do it because they want to be a guardian. They want to be a protector. So we're so proud of Star Tips, Hallway Heroes, doubling the rewards. We've accomplished all of this by just thinking about what we are now facing in Florida, what we are now facing as Florida communities, looking at national trends, fortifying our state through these initiatives and others, whether that's statutory or within projects, to make sure that those national trends do not permeate and take root in our communities and state. And that is what it takes to make sure that you remain on the successful path, a successful trajectory, like a state like Florida. It is not by accident that Florida leads the nation in net migration, that more people want to uproot their families and move to Florida than any other state in the nation. It would not surprise you that we break tourism records every year. We've now increased the tourism rates from even before the pandemic, right before the pandemic. And it probably wouldn't surprise you, and I think the business leaders in here would say, I got that, I see why, that Florida leads the nation in new business formations. Last year, we had 1.5 businesses start in Florida. That is because we have amazing law enforcement leaders. That is because we have amazing community leaders like you that would take the time to come and recognize the efforts of Crime Stoppers. And that is because Florida understands and they get innately the gist of we protect our own. We all understand in a common sense way, we are led to say it is all of our job to figure out how we don't let this other nonsense that we're seeing around the nation, how we keep that from happening here. And it's all of our responsibilities. It's not just the selfless, brave, incredible individuals that take an oath and dedicate their professional careers to the noble calling of law enforcement. It's not just their job. Thank goodness there are people like that that are trained specially, that will rush into danger when we're fleeing the other way. But it's all of us. And that is what makes Florida so special. That is what keeps Florida at the forefront. And so if I could ask anything of you today, commend our amazing Crime Stoppers volunteers. I know there are many of you here. Thank you so much. I know all of you are volunteering. You feel that calling to be part of the solution. And I love that and I admire that about you. But if I could ask anything today, help us get the word out about Star Tips. It is so easy to remember. It really is catchy. Think of a conga line. Star Tips, Star Tips. Like, I advise you to do it at all of your meetings. It will never go, it will be annoying, but fun. Imagine the gala. We need a gala, and there needs to be a great big conga line. And second, I would advise next Tuesday, you're gonna have everybody lined up. And I would advise, consider ways that we can engage our youngest generation in the understanding that protecting our communities, guarding our fellow Floridians is part of our jobs. It's all of our responsibilities, that they can be a part of it. So whether it's Crime Stoppers and different organizations throughout the state launching essay contests or bringing in student leaders or making them student leaders at your high schools or your middle schools, making them part of this. That will lead to an explosion of information sharing, creating future leaders, not only in Crime Stoppers, but within our communities. I would also ask the same of Kiwanis. Clearly, I'm told, this is the most esteemed group in Manatee County. Your recommendation, your inclusion of our youngest generation, being a part of our community, that would go a really long way. So thank you again for inviting me here today, to including me in this wonderful celebration, and more than anything, giving me a chance to lead this incredible state, my home state that I love, as we continue on this path of success. Our future is so bright in Florida. It's not just the sunshine, it's because of all of you. Thank you for letting me be a part of your leadership. Bye-bye.
we doing questions? I think we have time for some questions for Ashley. I think we have a mic set up over here, so if you have some questions, please line up by the mic. Not everybody at once.
They all want to remain anonymous.
Yeah, remember, if you have your questions, start our steps. Okay, well, in that light, thank you so much for coming. As Kiwanis tradition, I have our very coveted Kiwanis Golden Rule, and this will to measure your future success as Attorney General and all that life has in front of you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So as this being our 25th anniversary, we also have a couple of recognitions, including, of course, she's getting her picture taken. So one thing that probably was not mentioned or brushed over too quickly, I want to say we have a lot of law enforcement leadership in here as well, and I just want to thank them for the work that they do to make our community safer. I know we've got all of our local leaders and many from as far north as Pasco County and as far south as Northport. So let's thank our law enforcement leaders. And a quick shout out, our current sheriff has a legacy back to his father, because Charlie Wells in 1988 said, you know what, I heard about this thing called Crime Stoppers. We need one of those because maybe some ticked off ex-girlfriend or ex-wife might turn into bad guys. So that's true story how Crime Stoppers ultimately became what it is today. But some of you may remember way back when there were bumper stickers called 747 cops. Well, since then, we've become much more sophisticated, and a lot of that because of the leadership with the Attorney General. So we want to recognize her, and I'm going to ask her to stay up for a couple of other awards that we want to give quickly. But this is an award that I think is very befitting. It is the 2023 Florida Association of Crime Stoppers Visionary Leadership Award, presented to Attorney General Ashley Moody for your innovative and visionary leadership focused on uniting Floridians to engage in the fight against crime. Please accept our gratitude and appreciation for helping make Florida a stronger, safer place to live, work, and raise a family. Now you help me present. We have another special guest here that gets to do double duty because he was actually one of the top hand-picked leaders that the Attorney General had when she first came on board, and they reached out and said, we want to meet with Crime Stoppers and do some things that are special. And there was a gentleman that some of you may know the name now, but there was a gentleman named Gary House. And he has done so well that the governor called him out of duty from the Attorney General's office back in April and said, I need a new commander of the Florida Highway Patrol. So we're very privileged that here today, and we had a long-time member who gave selfless hours. He served first in the Marine Corps, then had a career in law enforcement in the Jacksonville-Duval area, and then for over the last 10 years was one of our state leaders with the Florida Association Crime Stoppers. Just literally passed about a month ago, and his name was Wiley Hodges. So we've got an award called the Florida Association of Crime Stoppers Wiley Hodges Exemplary Service Award, and if Colonel Gary Howes could come up here from the Florida Highway Patrol, we'd like to recognize him. Congratulations. Come over here, get in here with that.
That's your hat.
Congratulations. I will say this, that when Gary took on that role, and for as high up as he was at the Attorney General's office, we never had that kind of representation. He never missed a Crime Stoppers conference. We have 3 a year from the time that he was there for 3 years. And a lot of this visionary leadership that the General had, she said, Gary, make it happen. And so then Gary would pick up the phone and call me, and then we would work to make it happen with all of our wonderful membership. But we're very much thankful to Gary for his leadership. We have one more award. The general talked about the initiative of enhancing the rewards and being able to bump them up to $9,500 to go after some of these cold case homicides. So we put together about 2 years ago a special program where law enforcement can partner with their local Crime Stoppers chapter, and because not all the Crime Stopper chapters have the ability to give a $9,500 award, but by our partnership with the Attorney General's office, the Crime Stopper Trust Fund, and our state association, we've been able to do that. And we've got quite a few cold case homicides that are out there that have taken advantage of that initiative. And just this calendar year, we were able to actually solve this first cold case homicide, and it was done from somebody right here in our area. So we want to recognize our law enforcement partner of the year that was the first to solve one of these enhanced reward cold cases, and that is the Tampa Police Department. So on behalf of the Florida Association of Crime Stoppers, thank you so much to everyone for hosting this, and thank you so much for the Attorney General taking time out of her busy schedule to be here. President Minor, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Frank.
Got her award.
I'll take it out here. We have one more award to present to Frank while he's up here. I want to also award him with our 100-year challenge coin. We just celebrated 100-year Kiwanis Club here in Bradenton. We're very, very proud of our club we've been able to establish. So Frank presents you with that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And also with a golden ruler for you as well. Sorry, new pack.
New pack. Each president gets their allocation of golden rules, right?
That's right. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for all of you being here today. It's this very special day where I think we have some announcements. Next week will be another meeting. We're going to be here together again. So if you enjoyed our meeting today, please come back next week. We'd love to have you as a guest. See Sharon Barnhorst. If you want to be a member, Sharon, raise your hand. So we're taking applications. This is my first year. I really want to grow membership, so please sign up. Other than that, thank you very much for coming, and have a great day.